Welcome back to HB Unfiltered Sports Talk. I'm joined by the Stiff Brownie. I'm the Dirtbag. And today's show, again, is brought to you by J3 Supply Group for your hoses and fitting specialist needs. And right now, the reason we're doing that is that's our only sponsor. So we're looking for more. So anybody out there listening, you want us to sponsor you and grow with us as we grow bigger, please give us a call. 714-317-2815. That's a Dirtbag's personal line. All right, let's get into it. March Madness recap.
Oh, dear God. Did we just blow up another bracket that we filled out?
Everybody's bracket seems to be blown up except one. I don't know if you heard this. There's a show that I kind of emulate. I want to emulate our show after it. Dan Patrick, on his show, he's got McLovin, he's got Fritzy, he's got Seaton. Well, Seaton, who's his audio guy, his wife filled out a bracket. She has all four correct in the final four. Her bracket's not
Get
perfect.
out of here.
Her bracket's not perfect, but she has all four intact.
How did she come up with that?
She came up with it because she went to school in Florida, so she picked the two Florida schools.
Okay. FAU in Miami.
She has friends or family that went to San Diego State.
Okay.
And she lives in Connecticut, so she picked UConn. And she's got UConn beating San Diego State for it all. Now, if you would have placed $100 on that scenario, those four making it, by taking the money line
every game that they played?
Every game, you just took the money line on those, and you put them together, a little parlay, guess how much you would have won?
How much?
$9 million.
Wow.
I can't believe I didn't have it.
Wow. And she likes UConn versus San Diego State.
Yes, yeah, because they live in Connecticut because that's where the Dan Patrick show is.
Okay.
So,
and then her husband went to San Diego State.
I think so. I think Seaton went to San Diego State. If not, there's reasons why she took it just based on family perception and friends and stuff like that. So
not mascots.
Not mascots, not colors, nothing absurd like that. So, anyways,
well, let's get into the games.
It's pretty awesome. We got Florida Atlantic playing San Diego State, a 5 versus 9. Oh, let's recap the seedings. So we got a 5 versus 9, and we got a 4 versus a 5.
This is exactly why this tournament is the best sporting event of the entire year.
Yes.
Exactly for this scenario. And you know what makes this scenario possible now? The transfer portal. These kids aren't being stuck behind other five-star blue chippers at Kentucky or Duke or North Carolina. They're able to transfer right out and play right away. And, and you're obviously seeing it with a bunch of 5 seeds, a 9 and a 4.
Yeah, there's already kids in the transfer portal. As soon as they lose the game, kids are unhappy with their playing time for whatever reason, the school they're going to, the connection with the coaches. So the transfer portal's already filling up in the basketball world.
I thought it would have a bigger impact football-wise than it would basketball-wise, but it's obviously showing that it's a much bigger deal.
Oh.
Well, let's go back. USC football team had a lot of transfer portal athletes because obviously Kingsbury left. Is it Kingsbury?
No, well, he never even coached a game.
No. Who's the coach now?
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley.
By the way, that's how much I pay attention to USC.
That is horrible. He is one of the greatest coaches ever, and he's young.
Well, when I'm a Bruins fan, there was only one team in LA.
Yeah, you can have Skip Kelly or whatever his name is.
All right. So, anyways, I didn't realize how big of an impact this transfer portal was going to have until I saw this tournament, and holy cow, it's been amazing.
Yes,
every game's been amazing.
Now, I don't know if you followed this, but it's the first time that all 4 number ones, usually a number 1 at least will make it. At least one of the number 1 seeds. Not one number 1 seed made it. Not one number 2 seed made it. Not one number 3 seed made it. Only a 4 seed UConn made it. You're talking the 12 best teams in the country listed by Joe Lunardi, Mr. Bracketologist.
Yeah.
He can't even get this right.
Yeah.
Nobody other than Seaton's wife has got this thing right.
We called it at the beginning in our very first podcast covering the NCAA tournament that this was going to be crazy tournament because anybody could beat anybody. And we saw it with the Princetons and the Furmans and everybody else that beat, teams that, as we've known and grown up watching, like the
Yeah.
Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Virginias, all these teams, the Texas, they're all outstanding basketball teams. But at the end of the day,
Yeah. You just brought up the transfer portal. So Caleb Love, awesome guard for North Carolina. They obviously didn't even make the tournament, preseason number 1. Didn't even make the field of 64. Turned down the NIT. He's in the transfer portal. So
wow,
I think North Carolina and Duke, they're going to start falling down a little bit with the coaching changes, and,
Sure.
and kids are going to move around. But this is what makes college basketball great because of the parity.
yeah, and you're gonna see kids staying longer now. The one and dones. I mean, there's very few one and dones. I bet now.
Like, you just brought up another point. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA. Kids are declaring for the NBA. Like, soon as they lose, if they're not in the transfer portal, they're like, I'm going to the NBA. Do they understand there's only 64 people picked in the whole world
And
in the NBA?
Well, furthermore, the second round doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah,
Like,
the second round is tough to even make the team.
Yep, and there's more European influence going on now too. So these kids got to be really careful coming out
Yes.
and declaring for the NBA, and then possibly not getting drafted. And then what happens? They don't get any money up front.
Right?
They sign for a G League team, or they go and play overseas
Yep, they can't go back to playing
because
college.
they've already declared as a professional.
Because
They've
they
got
got an agent. By the way, they should work on a new law to where if the kid doesn't get drafted, he should be able to go back to college.
I like that, but then that makes everything.
Well, then
Every kid would come out,
Okay, well, go ahead. Why can't you draft a kid because he doesn't have an agent? As soon as he gets drafted, he hires an agent.
I think
Can't you do something like
baseball's.
that?
I think baseball's the only sport that you're allowed to get drafted in as an amateur and have an agent coming out of high school and decline because of whatever reason. You didn't want to sign with the team
Here,
for whatever.
I'll tell
and
you
go to
right
college.
now. Back in the day, I played at Marina baseball, and I played with a guy by the name of Mark Newfield.
Mhm, he
Mark
was amazing.
He was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
He was just, putting baseballs on the condos in left field over there, by Robinwood.
Yep.
But he got drafted in the first round, like 4th pick overall in the first round by the Mariners. And he was hitting in between Ken Griffey Jr. for a couple years.
Yep.
And he was drafted straight out of high school. He didn't have an agent.
Yeah. Well, he had an agent once he got drafted because
Well, yes.
he needed to have somebody negotiate on his behalf for sure.
Yeah, of course.
But I do agree. Like, just because you get an agent doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
They're trying. I mean, obviously, that agent hopefully has your best interests involved. A lot of them don't. A lot of them want to get some dollars out of you, and if they can get you on to the next level, great. They consider that they've done their job. I'm interested that they don't have agents. How do you get NIL money, but you don't have an agent? How does that all work?
Yeah, like the kid
Do you-
that's
do you-
going to USC at a La Salle. I don't know how that works either.
Do you
And
hire
know what I
an
don't know?
attorney? Is that what it is?
I don't know how this works. Maybe I need these on, huh? Before we can really talk about what we want to talk about. How about that little maneuver? We'll look back at this and go, "Wow, could he really hear himself?" Good Lord. All right, I'm back.
So let's
I'm back.
let's get into these games. You got FAU versus San Diego State. Surprisingly, I don't know how the line's this small, but it's San Diego State -2. I love San Diego State,
I do too.
and I got to tell you, from a betting standpoint, people, if you have not been taking San Diego State's games under this entire tournament, and including the conference tournament that they were in, the under has hit 14 out of the last 15 games for them.
Yeah, they're an excellent defensive team, and man, I like the whole 5 that start, and a couple guys that come off the bench.
Sure.
They're athletic. They get up, get down the court. They play defense. Their transition defense is probably the best.
Yep. They were the number 1 ranked defensive efficiency team coming into this tournament. Now, were they number 1 in the entire nation? No. But were they the best team defensive efficiency wise coming into the tournament that made the tournament?
Yeah.
Yes. And it showed.
And even though Florida Atlantic made it all the way to the Final Four, they played a lot of good teams.
Mhm.
They did get lucky. They didn't have to play a number 1 Purdue. You know what I mean?
Yep.
but they're a good 3-point shooting team. So it's really going to come down to San Diego State's going to pack it in, play good defense, and force them to shoot the three. But that's exactly what Florida Atlantic does. So it's going to come down to their shooting percentage from the three.
Sure. Any team the stat I saw is that any team that shoots over 50% from the field, San Diego State loses to. So all they got to do is get over. They don't have to shoot 80%. They just got to get over 50%. I saw that stat before last game, which made me a little hesitant on taking San Diego State. But I did take the under and I did cash that in.
Right.
It hit by like 20 points. It was crazy.
Okay. All right.
So let's get some under, and you like some San Diego State minus two?
San Diego State to cover and the under. That's what I'll go with.
Okay, that's the early game. The late game is Miami against Connecticut, and obviously you said Seton. Seton's wife loves UConn to win the whole thing.
Well, I do love UConn to win the whole thing. Actually, that team looks awesome. I can't. Yeah. I watched a couple of their games during the regular season. But man, it is awesome
to pick them to win the actual entire tournament. It's almost even money. It's at minus 130 right now.
Yeah, I go UConn. I don't know about the under in that game because Miami can get up and down the court and UConn can too.
It's at 150. That seems right on the money. I think it's going to be really close to that.
I'd probably stay away from the over-under and just take maybe like a 3-game parlay. Take UConn to cover and take San Diego State to cover with the under.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a good little 3-gamer.
Okay, so we've got San Diego State facing UConn in the finals.
I'm going with Seton's wife, man. She's on fire. Sometimes you just got to piggyback with whoever's picking the right stuff.
Sure. There's a nice little prop bet that you can take where if you call who's in the finals, you get X number of dollars. And just to choose San Diego State versus UConn, it's a plus 150. I'm gonna sprinkle some money on that as well.
I do want to let it be known that if Texas would have won, I would have had at least 2 in my own personal. I had Texas and UConn. At least I almost had 2, but now I'm just down to the 1 with UConn. So.
Well, at least you got UConn. My both of the brackets my big money brackets that I did, I literally just needed Texas to beat Miami. The other 2 guys, both different guys, they both had Miami advancing over Texas, and I had stayed true to my guns because I told everybody on the podcast, Texas is going to win the whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, the most important, I just wanted to beat one person. It was Joe Biden, and I did it. So I'm very excited and happy with that one. I do want to say a side note. I was telling you earlier during the break. I called a coaching position. Mark Madsen is an ex-Laker.
Yes.
You know, can't dance after championships.
Or amazing dancer.
Or amazing dancer.
Depends
well, anyways,
on
he's been a really solid coach for Utah Valley for the last 6 years.
Great coach. He's been taking it to the playoffs and everything.
And I've always wondered why he hasn't gotten like a better gig, in D1. Well, he just got it, and I called it. He went to Stanford, but Cal went 3 and 28 last year. They fired their coach, so they had an opening.
Horrible.
And he knows the area. He'll be able to recruit.
Sure.
And I thought it was a perfect hire. And it just went down. Mark Madsen's been hired by Cal.
You said that to me like a year ago, I think.
I did.
Yeah.
I said he should have been at Stanford or Cal a while ago because Stanford hasn't been that great either.
Actually, I think Cal's a better school to go to. Stanford hasn't been good in a long time.
Well, I mean, it's hard to get in there.
Yeah.
Their academics are way up there, so...
Yeah, that's true.
It's slim.
But Cal's no schlop.
Nah, they're not as
I mean, they're liberal hippies, but they're no schlops.
Well, there's the problem right there. All right, where are we at here?
Why don't we come back and talk about the World Baseball Classic and some opening day baseball since tonight's Christmas Eve for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is for you. But...
Well, it's Christmas Eve. It's like opening presents. It's a new day for everyone that. Has a baseball team. Everybody has a chance.
Coming right off the World Baseball Classic where everybody and their brother was watching the championship. Japan versus the United States. God, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. And hey, I called that. We called it. We said, how awesome would it be if it came down to Ohtani, the best player in the world, going against the other best player in the world from the U.S., Trout.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it came down to. I was saying that they were going to win 4-3. They lost 3-2, but there was a man on base. If Trout could have hit a 2-run homer, I would have called it perfectly. Trout versus Ohtani with a 4-3 win by the U.S., but I came up a little bit short. But we did get the +1.5 right.
+1.5,
We
and we
said
hit,
take Japan.
and the under.
So
We did.
it's a good thing for baseball. Shohei Ohtani, MVP every year. I don't care about Judge. Forget home runs. 240 strikeouts. We're going to take a break.